Good afternoon. I would like to start by thanking you for the opportunity to present our proposal on the Olympic Torch Relay Initiative. My name is Shannon Elward.
My name is Stephen McKim.
My name is Badu Pinto.
And my name is Melissa Langell.
While preparing this proposal, it became very evident to my colleagues and I that a great deal of effort was put into this initiative in an attempt to connect Canadians of all ages and ethnicities to promote national pride. And this was especially inspiring because of the upcoming Vancouver Olympics, when we will be on the center of the international stage. So I'd like to begin by just going over the Olympic Torch Relay Initiative. The Olympic Torch Relay Initiative for the Vancouver Olympic Winter Games began on October 30, 2009 in Victoria, British Columbia. The relay covered 45,000 kilometers across Canada over 106 days before completing its journey on February 12, 2010 at the opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games in Vancouver. The Olympic Torch stopped in each Canadian province, and approximately 90% of all Canadians were within 1 hour's drive of the Torch journey, and it touched within 1,000 communities and places of interest. The Canadian government had several goals for the Olympic Winter Games, which often overlap with the initiatives of the OTR. And these included athletic excellence, Aboriginal participation, the official languages, sustainability, spreading the Olympic spirit across Canada, developing domestic business, promoting Canada abroad, increasing domestic tourism. I would like to begin by just talking about our company. Our ICE consulting company is we focus on innovation, collaboration, and evaluation, and our motto is discover what lies beneath. By that we mean that we are focused on in-depth analysis during our evaluations. And we are focused on innovation, collaboration, and evaluation such that we are always going to workshops and consulting recent publications in order to refine our practices, and we use mixed design approaches such that we obtain different sources of information so that the weaknesses of one method can be accommodated by different methods. And we adhere to the program evaluation standards of the Canadian Evaluation Society, which focus on utility, feasibility, propriety, and accuracy. I would just like to give a brief rundown of the agenda for this proposal. So we are going to go over our stakeholder overview. Then we're going to provide a program logic model, the evaluation objectives, our approach to the evaluation, the methodologies we'll use and their strengths and weaknesses, a timeline and budget, potential challenges and solutions, and then we will have a question and answer period. The key stakeholders to the Olympic Torch Relay Initiative are the Government of Canada, which provides the funding, and the Vancouver Organizing Committee and the Department of Canadian Heritage. The private investors in this initiative are the Royal Bank of Canada and Coca-Cola, and the major stakeholder are Canadian residents who are meant to promote national pride amongst them with this initiative.
All right, so as you can see on the screen, we have the logic model for the Olympic Torch Relay Initiative. And as it's laid out, we have the resources at the top of the model, and this encompasses the various funding for the program, such as the federal government funding and the funding provided by various public-private partnerships. And this funding could go in one of two directions, either general resources for administration and coordination and financial assistance for the cities holding these various celebrations along the relay stops. There's also funding allocated for special project grants, and this is encompassed under Celebration and Commemoration Program, which is part of the Heritage, Department of Canadian Heritage. And one very specific program that's a part of this is the Youth Participation Initiative. And in this initiative, it's, the goal is to get young people out to these events. So that's under the umbrella of the Celebration Commemoration Program. And this leads to an assessment process because there are certain criteria that needs to be met by these programs. And then once that assessment process is complete, then we have the various outputs of these two activities. On the grants, special projects grants side, we have projects designed to celebrate the Olympic Torch Relay are available to young Canadians. And on the assistance for cities, this provides them with a chance to have these celebration events. And with these two components, it leads to the various outcomes of the Olympic Torch Relay Initiative, which is increased community participation. This includes Aboriginal, ethnocultural, and official language minorities. Another outcome of these activities is increased exposure and audiences to Canadian artists, creators, and Canadians who have done something important and just trying to gain awareness of those people. And the third outcome is an increase in Canada's domestic tourism and business development. So the next thing we'll talk about is the objectives of this evaluation. There are four main ones that we've identified as per the RFP. The first one is, was the OTR initiative implemented as it was intended? Second one, to what extent was the initiative's intended outcomes achieved? What contribution has the initiative made to achieving its goals and objectives of the Vancouver Olympic Games? And finally, what are the costs versus the benefits of this initiative? With this evaluation proposal that we're presenting today, we plan on answering these questions. So what is our approach to this evaluation? Well, due to the fact that the initiative is now complete, we will be using an outcome evaluation. We also intend on creating a steering committee at the forefront of this evaluation. This will be comprised of key stakeholders such as the federal government and the Vancouver Organization Committee. We will then meet with the steering committee at various key points along the evaluation. And this will be done in order to enhance communication and involvement of the stakeholders to get their feedback on the process of the evaluation as it is ongoing. We will also utilize an inception mission at the beginning of the evaluation. This will allow us to better understand the program and enhance the evaluation via these preliminary interviews with the stakeholders. So there are 5 major evaluation issues that we'll be looking at for our proposal. The first issue we're examining is efficiency, and this comprises of anything of how well this initiative has being run. One such example is that we'll look at whether the OTR initiative was implemented as it was intended to be implemented, and some of the indicators we'll be looking at for this evaluation issue. We'll be examining documentation of VANOC and PCH processes in order to gain, insight into how these processes were done. We'll also be looking at the feedback and opinions of VANOC board members and Celebration Commemoration Program officers via face-to-face and telephone interviews in order to get a better understanding of the program and how they felt it was implemented. The second major evaluation issue that we'll be looking at is that of effectiveness. And essentially, we're just going to be looking at whether or not the goals and objectives of the OTR initiative and the Vancouver Olympic Games overall, whether they've been met. And the indicators we'll be looking at for this, we'll be using face-to-face and telephone interviews with select celebration community populations. And we'll also be researching provincial and federal tourism and economy documents. And this is to make sure that those objectives are being met. For example, on the increased tourism, we'll be looking at tourism documents to look at whether or not tourism has increased since the Olympics. We'll look at TV ratings to see if there's increased exposure of the Olympics. And just overall, we'll be looking for feedback from various people and documents to see if there has been an increase in awareness and to see overall whether or not those objectives have been met. And now Madhu will continue on with the rest of the evaluation issues.
So the next issue of interest is access and reach. And an example of a question we propose here is, was the OTR initiative accessible to all Canadians who wanted to participate? And an indicator of this will be a national mail-out survey with Canadian population, which we do intend to create, and I will discuss further in our methodology section. We will also look at the issue of impact, and an example of a question here is, did the OTR initiative increase national pride, excitement, and sense of inspiration? And so again, an indicator of this would be the mail-out survey. As well, we'll be looking at sort of a comparison between viewers of the 2010 Olympic Games as well as past games. So in order to do this, we will acquire statistics from 20 years back. So these will be statistics from Winter and Summer Games. And we believe that VANOC can assist us with this. As well, we intend on using TV ratings from CBC and CTV in order to make a comparison or have some indication of an increase in interest. Finally, there's the issue of cost effectiveness. So an example of a question here is, did the value of money in Canadian legacy match? So we propose to do a cost-benefit analysis of money versus established legacies. And in our inception mission, we do intend on sort of refining a working definition of legacy depending on the different stakeholders.